Okay, what I'm gonna try to do in this series of probably 4 videos is give a little bit of a head start or tutorial, whatever you want to call it, on Fortnite Save the World. It's a little complicated and somewhat overwhelming when you're first starting, and I have a few friends starting out right now, and instead of trying to coach them individually, I figured I could make a few videos and save myself some effort. Or actually, now that I wrote down everything I have to explain, I feel like it's gonna cause me more work too, but overall it'll save some, I think. So I want to start up here, I guess, with your commander level, or it says account level when you highlight it on here. When you complete maps, you'll see an XP bar fill up, and you'll get commander levels. And what you use those for is you can go to upgrades on the command tab, and all mine are purchased already because 310 is the max you can get right now, and I'm 310. So you can buy tools like increased pickaxe damage, how much you can store in your vault, building health, building and repair speed, backpack size, and some gadgets. And gadgets are tools you can use in the combat process or during the matches to help you. And currently right now, the general rollout people roll with is the hover turret, which is kind of OP. Just sits up in the air and just rains fire down on all the enemies. As you purchase more points in it, you can have like up to 2 out at a time. What I usually do is space them out though, because it seems like they're on different cooldowns, so if you can space them out, you can get more use out of them than doubling it up. Adrenaline Rush, which is your heal, which I still think is kind of a long cooldown, but you can also heal your friends with it. So, and even res them at the highest level of it, you can pop them back up without having to go pick them up. Starting out, you'll probably end up starting with, well, I don't know, all I could get when I started the game was Airstrike, but they've changed this around, so you might be able to get this later or something, but it's not that great. The cooldown is so long comparative to the damage. If it rained fire for maybe, you know, like 10 seconds or something, like something comparable to the hoverbot, it might be okay for a giant AoE block, but as it is now, it just hits once and it's done, and yeah, it's not worth it. The banner, just like you can drop it and it'll repair the walls and stuff around where you put it at. It also causes shockwave to knock the mobs back. But the biggest selling point of the banner on some maps is at highest level you can set the resurrection point for everyone. So you can set it on the top of the base that you're defending. So if someone dies and they can't get res in time, or they can just release right away and pop up on the base and get back in the fight instead of having to run all the way from the entrance of the map again. Proximity mine, never even loaded these up. They're pretty bad. I've never even tried them out on a map. Slow field has its uses in certain maps. It just puts up a giant, it's not showing a video right now, there it goes. It puts up a giant area that slows down the mobs, and at high level it slows them down by like 80. It says 40% on there, but I think with some of the perks, the level ups on it, ends up being like 80 or 90% by the time you're done, which can really help out a fight, slowing down an area that's getting overwhelmed or whatnot. And then if you have like a constructor or something and you put that in front of a mini boss, and right when he's about to finish passing through it, they do the bulldozer rush and push him all the way back to the beginning of the slow field, they'll have to go through it all entirely again, which buys you a lot of time. I used to use supply drop a lot when I was leveling just to get mats, but I'd forget a lot of the time to put it down and not notice till the end of the map. But if you're really good at remembering to watch your cooldowns, you can drop that as much as possible, get some extra mats without having to actually farm. And then there's a teleporter, which has some uses, but overall isn't too useful. I mean, if you got like a really spread out defense or something like that, which you're not going to know till you're actually in the map, and you can't change gadgets in the map. But if you had a really spread out defense or something, you could use it to get for people to get from one point to the other quicker. Also, enemy stuff will go through the trap at higher levels, and even your gunfire can go through the trap at higher levels. So you can use tricks like to launch a rocket to another place. Just fire the rocket into the field, and it'll come out the other side. And a lot of these are up to you on which you like better. But I always used to go for pickaxe damage and backpack size a lot when I was leveling, and then building repair speed and building health are super important too. So what you'll end up getting locked though on these to a certain level, so you'll be able to spread out the points pretty well. But that's the order I would probably spend them in. Okay, what else do I have here written down? So that was commander level, talent points recovered, survivors. Well, actually I wanted to go for heroes first, so let's go for heroes. And so there's the 4 main classes. So you're looking at soldier, constructor, ninja, and outlander. And it all depends on your playstyle or maybe your mood that day, which the mission requires, what you're going to end up playing. Say there was an event, blockbuster event a while back, that the meta ended up being everybody had to end up on a constructor, and a certain kind of constructor at that, to make the mission as easy as possible, or even actually doable. Actually, it made it, some of the meta was kind of stupid, but yeah, you had to do that, or it would be really, really hard to complete. So not all heroes are created equal. Some are better than others. None of them are necessarily bad, but some will just perform better than others. If you're trying to put out more damage, if you're trying to survive more, depending on what your playstyle is, if you hate dying or if you just like being the top DPS or something like that, or if you're using pistols or if you're using assault rifles. Most people consider this Urban Assault Headhunter right here. This is their normal skin. This is from being a founder of the game. I got the Skull Ranger Ramirez, but it's the same thing. So Headhunter, Urban Assault Headhunter, or Skull Ranger Ramirez, but it both say Urban Assault next to Soldier, so that's a class type. So there's a class type, and then there's the hero type. So it's a Soldier, and then it's an Urban Assault. And there's also other Urban Assault ones. Like my friend really likes playing this guy, Urban Assault Sledgehammer. He's another Urban Assault. He gets the same perks as this one up here. So you could find another version of this and level it. But the reason people like Urban Assault for a Soldier is because she's so universal. She can use any weapon type and do the same amount of damage. So if you feel like using a pistol that day, or a shotgun, or whatever, she's universal in it. She gets debilitating shots, lingering pain. It can stack, so the debilitating shots can stack more times, which that causes them to take more damage. Every time you stack another debilitating shots on them, then they'll take even more damage. She gets reduced recoil. She gets shockwave ability, which is really good for clearing out around you if you get like overwhelmed by a bunch of husks on you. Quicker reload she gets. Headshotting an enemy will cause you to get increased weapon fire rate by 50%. She gets rain faster, so that makes that fire even faster. So it was 25% initially, so that's 50% is with rain faster added. That's where the fire rate is where the steady aim comes in, because otherwise most of your shots would miss. She gets frag grenades, which are pretty decent for all the soldiers. The nice part though is she also gets keep out for her grenades, so it puts an energy field on the ground, which keeps causing damage to husks coming through that area. And then right here, Kneecapper increases the vulnerability of the debilitating shots. So her first shots aren't that hard, but as you stack the debuff on the enemies, she's going to hit harder and harder. So being as a shotgun is really slow, it would take longer to get enough stacks on an enemy. So yes, she's not as great with shotguns as if you were to pick an actual hero that was spec'd all towards shotguns, but she can use them pretty well. But she's better with guns that you can get the debilitating stacks onto the enemy fast and then finish them off. I usually use her with an assault rifle, but like I said, she can use pretty much anything. Let's see, this Calamity is really good with pistols, especially 6 shooters. She gets, for the 6 rounds in a pistol, she gets 12% increased damage and 24% impact. So, and then there's the shotgun guys, which are the raiders. There's quite a few. Here's a Raider Headhunter, Raider Raptor, Raider Jonesy, but they just get increased damage with shotguns and extra effects. But yeah, so that's soldiers. Let's see. There's your constructors. So this like Machinist Thora here is a machinist. She's really good at traps. One of her things is every trap on the map gets increased durability, including everybody in the parties. And then she also causes traps to like reset faster and do more in general. 2 of the biggest, considered the best constructors are the Mega Base and Heavy Base. Heavy Base, every time an enemy dies on one of the tiles on the floor, it sucks their soul out, and after so many souls, it causes an explosion which damages everything around the whole base within 5 tiles, I believe. And then he also has the second biggest reaching base as far as how many tiles out it will reach, and I think it goes like 8 or something like that. And then there's Mega Base Kyle, which his reach is 9, but he doesn't have that base explosion. But he also gets some extra perks, like increases the amount reflected. I'm not sure if Heavy Base has that. And health of buildings in the area. Heavy Base doesn't have the increase the health of all the stuff on the connected to his base. And then there's weird ones like Demolitionist Penny. Her base does not reach far at all. It's like 4 tiles. But if you're standing on it, your weapons take... If you're standing on a tile affected by it, your weapons take reduced durability damage. So it's like 60% or something like that. So your explosive weapons or such whatnot can last way longer and not have to cost so many mats. And then you just move the base to where the mobs are coming from currently. Then there's like Earhart here. She can put down a turret that anybody in the party can use. It's kind of too long of a cooldown though, but it's really neat. There is the controller class. There's a couple of them. The controller class has a really good quick reset on their dummy. If you have 2 of these in your party, you can alternate dropping them, and the monsters will never make it past them. They'll just have to keep beating on dummies. And that's what one of the meta was that I was talking about for that Blockbuster event, was you'd run like 3 or 4 controllers and just have to keep dropping those dummies timed out right so that the mobs would never make it to your bases because there were just so many of them. And while they were beating on the dummy, you just hammer them with explosive weapons and try and whittle down their numbers and whatnot. And so it was kind of like a loophole or whatnot to exploit. Not really, but it's part of the class. But it's just really OP when you have a couple of these girls to round everything up. And then let's see, ninjas. I'm not a big fan of ninjas. I think they need a big patch to fix these guys. They've gotten tougher. They used to be even squishier, but you know, when you're a class that has to be up in a monster's face, you got to be pretty tough. Some of the classes do a lot of damage, like the legendary or the mythic Swordmaster Ken that you can get from, or no, he's not from the collection box. He's just a mythic you can find. He does a shit ton of damage, but he's got like no survival abilities. So unless you're like really good at dodging attacks from the enemies and keeping moving, then you might end up dead a lot. There's a good one like Harvester Sarah. She gets a lot of survival stuff. Like every enemy you kill, you go into like a shadow form and it boosts boosts how much damage you can take. And she does pretty decent damage too, but the problem with her is she can only use scythes to do max damage. So a lot of the ninjas require you to use a certain weapon type too. Well, just like any of the soldiers too. And then So I won't go too much into them because if it's up to you, they're really good at getting around the map fast. They get a lot of increased movement speed. They can do double jumps, so you can get on top of buildings and stuff without having to build at the top of them. I like having one in the party sometimes to get around the map, gather blue glows, without having to, mount their hoverboards and dismount their hoverboards. They just get on top of whatever hill and grab the blue glow, and then they get all the power-ups around the map. And so they're really, if they're doing their job is to, get like the buffs on the map, get the blue glows to start the mission, etc. So they're just the speed people. And they're also, some of them are really good at clearing big crowds of enemies. Like Dragon Scorch right here, he can do like this ninja slash thing, and he'll slash through a bunch of enemies, and the weaker enemies just go poof, and it takes it out in a really long line, and it resets really fast for him in particular, so you can clear out a lot of the peon stuff, so that your traps and stuff can only have to worry about the littler or the heavier duty enemies like the fat husks and the smashers. And I forgot to say Constrictor's job, of course, a lot depending on them. Like I said, some of these don't have very good bases like Demolition's Penny, but their job is to get help build the base. Hopefully somebody else is helping you, but a lot of time the constructors take that on themselves. Maybe build the husk of it, and then hopefully other people will come and then help start upgrading, because you don't want to use all your mats, particularly because they're not very good at harvesting more for themselves. So then so then you put down your base, and your base is what helps protect the structure you're protecting really well. So they're not good on maps like there's a fire. So they're not good at like survivor maps or some encampment maps. This is an exception, the controller, because she can drop the thing and all the enemies will attack the dummy at the encampment. But they're more for when you're on a defensive mission, not an offensive mission. The soldiers, they're offense. They're attacking or defending, whatever. Okay, so now back to this Outlanders. They're utility slash like gathering, and they're also offense depending on the one you're picking. So like your Striker AC, he's a farming one. His punch that you can punch like trees or rocks or cars or whatever to gather materials resets really fast. So you can farm a whole map up in like 15 minutes or something like that. Break every tree on the whole map and reset it. If you had it on private when you needed to get some materials, set it to private. Break down a whole map, reset it, exit map, or let the mission fail and you can get a small chest sometimes. Then go back in, get you some more mats again. He's really good at that. So are the Pathfinders. They're good with their pickaxe though, so that's the difference. But the cool part of them is they can see through walls, I believe, is one of their perks. Let's see. Yeah, keen eyes. So they can see through walls where there's treasure chests and stuff. So a lot of times when you're starting out the game, you kind of want to pick one of the classes that has that keen eyes effect as an Outlander, so you can maybe learn where they generally like to hide chests, and then after you switch off of this class, you can find where those are in the future without having to actually have keen eyes. But they're really good with their pickaxe. Their bear is really bad at defending them though, and in general you end up running while you're trying to farm a lot of times. I like Striker because he can defend himself with the punch while he's still farming. I just line up an enemy behind a car or whatever, or in front of a car, punch him. Most of the time it'll kill a lot of them, and then keep farming. Her, it's a bit harder, but the big plus on her though is she gets diamond llamas too. So when you pick up a llama shard on a map, which are the purple round orb thingies you'll see on the map, you can drop a llama. Her llamas drop extra materials, like double the amount. So she can farm up, or she's really useful for groups too. They like when you bring them a llama, break it, and give them all those mats. As a constructor, as an Outlander too, one of the jobs you should do that most don't, gather those purple orbs, bring them back to whoever's building the base, break them for them, and maybe grab you the purple mat if it drops, or when it drops, and then take off again and go out back to farming or getting more purple shards or blue glow or whatever. You know, you're trying to and upgrade some walls too. It's easy for you to get mats again. Upgrade some of the walls on the defense if you're gonna want to play one of these. You know, they're not very, especially these two right here. I see a lot on maps, Striker AC and Pathfinder. They're not very good at fighting. But if you're gonna play one that's a farming class, help the people out, upgrade the walls and stuff, because you can get the mats back faster. You know, bring back the llamas, let them have the mats because they've been doing work over their building, hopefully. But then there's the offensive ones too, like say Beetle Jess, or she's a ranger. They're really good with pistols. You can phase shift around, which is like a teleport. Phase shift, pop a guy in the face a few times. If you get hurt, teleport out again. There's so they're the offensive type. Then there's Enforcer Grizzly. Not great at fighting with guns and such. He gets no boost to guns, but his bears that you drop, they're one of the strongest bears, if not the best bear that you can drop. Drop it, it does all the work for you. I play him a lot, so you can be kind of lazy or not burn up all your guns that you're having to get materials, you know, to make. But there's certain maps that you know his bear can get overwhelmed, so it might be better to play a better one that can clear a lot more enemies at once, like, you know, say a soldier or something like that. Let's see. I think that's about all I want to get into on them. So they're, you know, farming, defense, offense. They're pretty neat. Outlanders are pretty neat. You see a lot of them on maps. So let's go to hero loadout. So right now I was testing out this ninja, Dyer, but he's not one I normally play. But you can see I picked him, and I was trying to pick a build that would suit him. So I could have on this slot maybe gone sword damage or something like that, since I'm using a sword with him. But he also has some neat abilities, abilities. So I went with Shuriken Master Sarah, who she boosts ability damage, which I use her with the bear guy, and his bears do 20% more damage. So then I also went with Agent Rio. So when he goes into shadow stance, when I kill an enemy, you get 20% more movement speed for 5 seconds. So as long as I keep killing enemies, and he's already really fast, that's one of his bonuses, that he's fast, so you go even faster. But say, not manage, hero loadout. Say I were to build my normal bear build I would pick Enforcer Grizzly. I already have her in there because I want ability damage for his bears. And then I would get Carbide here, which Grizzled Veteran gives my bear lasts 5 more seconds. Another choice there might be this guy that would give my bears Laser Beam Eyes. A lot of people are torn on which is better, but the general consensus is that 5 more seconds for the bear is better than the Laser Beam Eyes going off. Like, I think it goes off every 3 or 5 seconds or something like that. So, or say I wanted to do a constructor build. So say I was doing heavy, or let's do heavy base. I want ability damage because his base causes an explosion, and also the enemies walking on the tiles take damage. The enemies that hit the walls take damage. So she's pretty universal. If you can come across a Shuriken Master to boost ability damage, you want to keep that one. A lot of classes depend on their abilities. You want her to boost it. Then there's a couple choices on here, but the one I usually go is Power Base character, and Power Base makes it so that all the structures attached to this guy's base regenerate their own health, so you don't have to repair as often or at all possibly, because all the walls are repairing themselves. You know, there's other choices, like there's one of them, I don't think I have her leveled, but she causes the bases to recycle. It's actually Penny right there, but whatever is attached to the base, you can go to her constructor base and gather materials out of it. It'll keep gathering, it'll keep making mats. So if your whole base is made out of metal, it'll start gathering metal from that and recycle it, and you can not have to go out and farm. It's actually pretty nice. But overall, I like the repair thing better. What else is there on this episode? Oh crap. I still have to go through squads, and then we're at 25 minutes. I think I can make it in 5 more minutes. So there's the 4 basic stats too. So let's go to, like, say, research. Yeah, research. I think I'll cover that in another. No, I'll cover that in another one. We'll cover 4 stats after. So survivors, and then squads. So you got all these squads. You're gonna start out with not so many slots open. You know, don't get overwhelmed. The main thing is, when you're starting out, is just to play the game. Just do the quest. You'll start unlocking more of these things, which will, every one of these you unlock will level you up faster, because you have a card slot to put a survivor in, which will level you up faster. But you want to, first thing you want is to match the personality. So this guy is a Holmes. He's an analytical, and he's doctor, so he only fits in the EMT squad here. So each one, they have it's like a symbols, and it's a double circle or cooperative. I usually go by memorizing the symbol if I can, or when I'm looking. But so, like, say the offense guy right here, you want to match that with all the rest of them. So they all have double circle cooperative. And then if you can, after the fact, well, okay, so it goes matching the personality type first, then you want to try and match the rarity. So there's, you know, there's gray, there's blue, there's purple, and then there's orange. So you want to get you know, purple or oranges in here ASAP. And then you worry about matching the set bonus. Matching up, see, I have 2 of these that increase my trap durability by 8%. Then you worry about that. Because each level of one of these guys, so this is 2,880, or we're on this one right now, so let's look at offense. 2,790. It's 1% weapon damage per point for offense. So this too, also right here, say if I were to match ability damage 3 of these icons of the wrench, that gives me 5% total. It's not worth it. It's not multiplicative. Yeah, I can never say that word. But it's additive. So it's 5%. So getting an orange one in here is more important than matching those symbols. Eventually, hopefully down the road, or if you get really lucky, you'll get oranges, and you'll get ones that match symbols. Because, see, I keep getting these melee symbol ones, and I don't melee. I don't play ninja, so it doesn't help me. I want the wrench ones. I want the gun ones. I want the durability and the trap damage ones. But I keep getting hearts for more health and shields and stuff like that. But yeah, that's the main thing. Like right here, I didn't have any more diamond symbol analytical to fill sort. See, no more oranges with diamonds. Some people say I should put like an orange in there for the increased, or an orange in there is better even if it doesn't match. I don't go for that. If I can't find an orange that matches, then I throw in a purple that has a symbol that'll match up, so then I can get a little bit more from that 5%. You know, here's more trap durability right here, 8% between them two, because they match. There was one over here I'm supposed to level up just to show you how it goes. So bam, 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 kind of slow. 9, 10, and then you're gonna get to an evolution screen, and you got to have enough materials to pass this point. Bam. I just switched these out a little bit ago from some purple people, so they. Otherwise, this would be done already. I try to keep up on this pretty well. Saying, you've seen it takes more and more mats each time you do this. And at the beginning, I try to keep all my people the same level, because every level it takes more XP. So I was keeping everybody kind of the same level up to when they got to the next star, you know. And because getting an evolution actually gives you a big chunk. Watch when I go from 1 to right now at the top. Boom, big old chunk on 121 on your power level. So I went to 5 there. I should have actually waited and took this girl up to 4 first. I don't know if I'm going to have enough to do it now. Oh yeah, I will. So you see it, Eye of the Storm and stuff. The higher you go, it takes more materials. Bam. And I'll worry about the rest later on her. So you can see I almost went. I was actually, because I switched out the 2 purples I had here, I was at like 121 barely starting, and I went up 3 more whole bars just from switching to oranges. So it all adds up over the long term. I think that's it for this video. We're a little over 30 minutes. Next episode will be schematics, traps, perks, reperk, perkups, and research. And yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you watch the next video.